ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। हरिः ॐ। पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायी भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम् वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं मूकं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवम्। My namaskars to you all. We are in the eighth chapter of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, and in the last class we had seen verses until 6th, and we had also taken verse number 7. So in the beginning of this chapter we had seen how these concepts which Bhagavan Krishna had referred at the close of the previous chapter. The name of the previous chapter was Jnana Vijnana Yoga. The yoga by means of Jnana and Vijnana. So Jnana, knowledge, and Vijnana, that is Vishesha Jnana, special knowledge, or something. What we see, the another dimension of the knowledge. So it was very favorite word of Sri Ramakrishna. We can, as a parallel, not to get the idea, the drift of this word Vijnana, and especially the way of the distinction between. So, though it is a fruit, but it does not go with the fruit custard. So, here also, even in this joke, what we see. So, the knowledge, just the information, and how practically one person employs that information. This is the difference. Sri Ramakrishna has used various similes, analogies to explain the point. Like he uses this example, like he said that some people might have heard about milk, some people might have even seen it, but there are few who not only have seen milk, but they also drink it daily and thereby has become very stout. So he says, so these two things are entirely different. In our Shastras, so this is the way they say by which Atma, or this knowledge, or this ultimate truth can be known. Areva Atma Drashtavyo. So this is how you can see the Atma. This comes in the Brodharanyaka Upanishad. And how the Rishi uses the three words Shrotavyo, Mantavyo, Nididhyasitavyo. Meaning that you should do Shravana, Manana and Nididhyasana. Now various people have taken various take on these three terms. So, but as far as I understand from my own little experience of life and this spiritual sadhana, and as also studying the life of the great souls like Sri Ramakrishna and their teachings. So there we see the three distinct part, like understanding the theory first, where you do not have any subjective scope of applying. There is no scope of applying is Shravana. You are supposed to understand and this, it is not like that. If the Shravana happens and then you go to the next class of Manana and then you graduate into the class of Nididhyasana. It is not like that. So everything happens simultaneously. That's Shravana, because what impedes our understanding of this theory? Theory is what Shastras are telling you. Shastras being the text, the books, the records, the information in which we find this guidance about the spiritual life, what it is, and where there are these instructions or suggestions from which I can draw for my own self and conduct myself, carry myself, so that I may progress on this path. So these all books will be considered as Shastras because they discipline. That's why Shastras. That is the meaning of Shastras. Shasanat Trayante. So those things which saves you by disciplining you, so they will be called as Shastras. Now, so life of Sri Ramakrishna, the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, life of Holy Mother, her Gospel, Swamiji's life, Swamiji's teachings, Gita is there, Upanishad is there, this everything, and the life stories of the disciples of Sri Ramakrishna, their teachings, their reminiscences, everything they help us to form the idea of a correct idea of spiritual life and thereby help us to move forward on this path. So they will be considered as Shastra. Now what is the problem? Where is the problem in the Shravana? The problem is us. We are the problem. How? Now it is like, consider if there is a class of suppose 40 students. There is one teacher. He has explained something, some concept in physics or mathematics. So there is one teacher. He is telling, he has told equally, but not all 40 students have understood it equally. What is the difference? Difference is the student. What is different with the student? Is sitting in the first row, last row, is the difference? No. The difference is the preparation of the individual, of the student. So, I am that mirror in which this impression will fall. So, there is no fault in the sun. It is fault in the receptacle which is going to have the impression of the sun. As muddier the impression, so will be the image of that sun proportionately unclear. So transparent is the receptacle. So will be the image of that sun as true to the original. So where lies the problem? Problem is us. What exactly are the problems? Problems are our ideas, thoughts, emotions, our concerns, our notions, our likings, our inclinations, which are gathered together over the courses of our previous life, including this life. This everything makes who we are. This is what? With my faults, with my goodness, with my good and bad things, my strength, weaknesses, everything. This is who I am. So first to accept this, the bundle of good and bad as me, not to whitewash anything, not to label anything, and then only work can start. This honesty, to reach this point of honesty, this is like a milestone. You do not start from here, you arrive at this place. to honestly know and accept yourself, it is a milestone to be achieved. You do not start from here. Everything has a very good, nice and high opinion about ourselves. I am a very nice person. And we conveniently, nicely we brush under the carpet whatever is wrong with us. That's how we are. That is human nature. So accepting this, we have to probe, we have to analyze, we have to investigate, we have to get access to our own mind, which has started to behave like an autonomous entity in itself. वो आपको ही बताता है कि नहीं नहीं, तुमको ज्यादा जानने की जरूरत नहीं है, तुम्हारा दिमाग खराब हो जाएगा. राइट? यू डिड नॉट नीड टू नो. इफ यू आर सबऑर्डिनेट, इफ यू आर ओनर ऑफ एन कंपनी, आपके कंपनी का ही आपको आदमी अगर ऐसा बोल रहा है, then something is very messed up. Then you have to very much see the file, what is in the file, where are things are going on, that you have to check. Now this is the story with the Shravana. So Shravana will improve. As I improve, I reduces this bias, and as I prepare myself to have as truer image of the what is being conveyed to me, then what Guru has said, I have understood it exactly. So we are on the same page, and now that is an achievement. So here Shravana, that is the objective of the Shravana. This is the first part, to know exactly what is being conveyed. So it is not colored by your notions. So this is the achievement. This is the first achievement, Shravana. Now after that, this part is related to understanding of the ideal. This part is related to the understanding of the ideal. This is total objective pursuit. Here your subjectivity, what are your concerns, what are your limitations, what is your context, this idea does not have any play here. They do not come and have any play, any scope here, nothing. You must understand what is being instructed, what is Shastras or Guru or this parampara, whoever is trying to convey. You must be able to understand in the spirit and in letter and in spirit how you are supposed to understand. Now that is the first part, Shravana. Okay. Now there comes the second part, Manana. Here it is totally subjective thing. Now you have totally understood the theory. You can consider this like a pure science. There are principles. It is not talked in the language of persons. Everything is spoken in the terms of principles. सिद्धांत क्या है, यही बात होगी. What is the principle? How does it work? How it is? Even if it told in the personal language, it is Shravana part is always about the principles. Now here comes the second part, Manana. Here what I do? Now I try to understand with this process. As I have tried to understood myself, I try to know myself. What are my weaknesses? How do I think? How do my mind works? How does it functions? For what it is afraid of, to lose any ground? What does it want to conceal? How does it want to distort? Why do I behave in a way, the way I behave? This part. Now this process is initiated during Shravana itself. Now I bring these principles and apply here. What do I try to correlate to it? What is the bearing upon me? If this is the information, now it is trying to getting now personal. So what I am supposed to do? How do I integrate? How do I assimilate? If this is the information, how I am supposed to act? If this is the truth, what does it mean? What does it imply upon me? how I am supposed to think, how I am supposed to look, how I am supposed to behave, how I am supposed to take approach, carry myself. Everything. Now everything is becoming personal. Here, like at one end, you are looking at the destination in the first part. Here, you are looking where do you stand? The present, the practical. So, you in the first part, you were seeing at one end. Here, you are seeing like आपको कहाँ घूमने जाना है? तो पेरिस घूमने जाना है क्या? So, you were gathering all information about that. अभी आप देख रहे हैं everything personal. वेदर सूट होगा क्या, खाना सूट होगा क्या, मेरी हेल्थ कैसी है, टाइमिंग कैसे है, मेरा बजट क्या है, क्या, एवरीथिंग. अभी इसका एप्लीकेशन जो सब कुछ जाना है, अभी एप्लीकेशन, ये सेकंड पार्ट. सो मेंटल सिमुलेशन, हाउ आई वुड हैव लिव दिस इफ आई बिलीव इन श्री रामकृष्णा's वर्ड, इफ आई बिलीव इन द वर्ड्स ऑफ भगवद गीता. What do I mean if this is the thing, what would be the life of an individual if it is based upon this? If he has totally accepted these principles, where it will go? So simulation. So one of the distinguished facility or capability given to human beings which are not present in animals. So you can project out the capacity to imagine, the creative faculty that is not developed in other beings. So you can simulate and you can think. So this is like you think that if I get this job, I get this salary, I will do this. So after this many years, I will save this much money, I will get this kind of house, this kind of car or something like that. Whatever your preferences or your objectives or whatever pleasures you are motivates you. So simulation. So in this part, now these both things, as if this individual is there, is totally depend upon the spiritual evolution of the individual. He will not be able to understand if this fellow is not evolved. He will not be able to correlate what it is. Not just physical information कि खाली सुन लिया, नोट्स है, नोट्स पढ़ लिया और उसका मतलब कुछ याद आया कि ऐसा प्रश्न लिखने से ये सब जवाब लिखना है, with which he does not have to correlate. It does not need to be necessarily inspirational. It does not need to be necessarily motivational, or it does not come and touch him. फिजिक्स का क्लास ऐसा होना जरूरी नहीं है. Or any other information, you can be totally unattached to it and listen to that information. But this is not with the spiritual life. Unless by for whatever reason, due to the sadhana of your purva janma, of your previous life, by the grace of the Guru, or by the virtue of your good deeds, by the company of the sadhus, holy company, by whatsoever means, by the condition you were, suppose the situation you were born, you the affiliation or association you might have got, by the virtue of that, by the virtue of your parents maybe. Some people have got that by the virtue of their wives. There are instances like that. But everything, anything. So what is supposed to happen? This cover. So somebody put it very nicely that in realizing God, we do not invent God. We do not invent God. So invention is the thing which was not there earlier existent and you create it. That is invention. Another word is used in similar context. It is called as the discovery. So discovery is not the thing which was not existent earlier. So Newton didn't invented the laws of gravity. He discovered the laws of gravity. So gravity was functional before Newton taught us. Gravity was functional. So to say it was much more rather than this is a interesting point. that the text earlier to Newton's time, they had very clearly taught the gravity, etc. in India. So there is a school of mathematics, very famous in Kerala. So few names, so they are very popular. And the Jesuit priest, there is one denomination of Christian priest, they are called as Jesuit priest. So they are distinct from every other priest. So their total focus is gaining this academic excellence in any field. So most of the time, the excellent institute, you will see their heads are the Jesuit priests. So that branch of Christianity, so since beginning, their total emphasis and approach was mastering this knowledge. Okay. So at that time, they not only copied, but they stole. Now that is another part. Okay. So just because it came in that context of the Newton, I thought I will just share that with you. So now there you do not invent it, you discover. So here in God realization, you do not invent God. And this discover, this word is very beautiful. If you see, if you break it, so there something is covered. And when that cover is removed, this is discovering. So God is already there, it is covered. Covered by your own ignorance, by your own notions, that you are so and so, you are so good, so bad, you are so many things, so many memories. This jumble, this they call everything, they call this as ignorance, because it is rooted from this idea that I am so and not this and this. So this division of duality into me and you, this is called as ignorance. The truth is not divided. Truth is one, it is undivided. So upon this truth, there is this ignorance. If ignorance is dispelled, suppose it is in many layers, suppose more and more layers are removed, suppose there is something, some glowing light, and we have put lot many cloths over it. So if, as we are removing the cloths, so we will see that there is burning something. When there will be lesser and less cloth, so we will be almost there. And suppose there is on that bulb, that glowing bulb, is there is just thin, white, almost transparent cloth, it would be like as most, like almost as real as the bulb itself. Discovery of the truth. So this is the spiritual evolution of the individual. As he progresses, this truth, this conviction grows into him. It is no more belief, it is no more ideas. It is not just because he is listening from the childhood. It is not because he is doing that because he was born in a Bengali family, because they were the devotees of Sri Ramakrishna. It is no more that. It is no more that. That his proof of that conviction has reached is directly proportional that how you are evolving on spiritual path. This is not just an intellectual exercise, this has to be borne in mind. These are the same words. Everybody listens. A idiot like me and a God realized souls. Everybody listens to the same. What is the distinction? So hardly it makes any sense to us. For other, it is living. That is the difference. Clearer for him now. He knows the destination. Now he knows the locus. Now what connects these two things is your sadhana marga. This is your path. Here you stand. Here you have to go. This has to mature into this. Your present has to mature into that objective ideal. That's why Swami Vivekananda says, God realization. So at a great devotee of Sri Ramakrishna, to him he said, maybe he was a very chill guy, Balram Basu. To him, वो बोले you were cow, आगे गोरु छिलेन. He said to him that you were once a cow, now you have become human and you will become God one day. To Balram Basu he said. Must have been because Balram Basu was very peaceful person. So, but somehow he must have irritated Swami Vivekananda. So Swami Vivekananda is saying to him this. So this is the journey of human being. This is the journey of evolution of any being. So he says, on that spectrum, he said, at amoeba at one side and Buddha at the another. So this is the scale of human evolution. So this Shravana Manana part. So as this grows, that when this Manana is refined, many times, many devotees, okay, they are nice people and better than many devotees who do not make any attempt. They are reading. Lots of reading has done. Means I am amazed. So many books this fellow have read. We all the time insist upon reading, and this fellow has read so many books now. Now what? Now there is a trouble. Trouble is what? He asks me, Swamiji, what do I do now? Now this is the question. This is the question. So he is better than the person who does not face this question. कि उसको प्रश्न ही नहीं है कि मुझे कुछ करना है कि नहीं करना है, कि मुझे क्या करना है. ठीक है, तो बोले सब अच्छा ही है. मंदिर में भी जा रहे हैं, आरती भी सुन लेते हैं, प्रवचन भी सुन लेते हैं, प्रसाद भी पा लेते हैं, अच्छा है, ठाकुर का कृपा है, वगैरह वगैरह. This fellow is yet to evolve. This says tamas, rajas and sattva. In tamas you do not have any problem. Swamiji compares that to a buffalo. But the buffalo does not have any problems. And so also Paramahansa, who has realized God, who is the Jivan Mukta, he live that. They are not concept. He will not even bother to even explain to you. He doesn't even care. So is the buffalo. Both does not have any problem. Problem is in the middle state. There is no shortcut from tamas to sattva. In case of light, we cannot see. In case of light, lower frequency of light, for example, there is infrared light which we cannot see. Higher frequency light, which is called as the UV light, ultraviolet light, look apparently similar in their expression, but they are diametrically opposite. They are not the same. Swamiji in Colombo to Almora in lectures in India, he had said, the problem of India is exactly this. We have embraced that tamas, considering this as sattva. From tamas, that individual, if he is awakened and it has to evolve, it has to pass through this rajas. And rajas is characterized by confusion, indecision, and tremendous activity, struggle, torment. That is the characteristic of rajas. That's why many times I used to say, the way to heaven lies through hell. So that hell you must see, and then only you can expect to see heaven. So now this Shravana, Manana, this part comes. Now this person, as he grows from here, so if that Manana is matured, what will happen? One thing will happen. He will not have this question. Which question? That Maharaj, what do I do now? He will not have this question. So he will have clearer understanding that what he is, what his strength, weaknesses is, what the work before him is, and therefore Manana is refined. But this person now do not have to ask again and again that what I have to do. So he sees the work. There are errors, he rectifies it, corrects it, make amendments, go further. So this Manana. Now once this Manana, now until now everything is psycho-intellectual. Okay. Now in the Nididhyasana, there is the physical part. Physical part is you leave this idea. When you have simulated, you have understood if this idea is practiced. Like I again and again I take this simple statement of Sri Ramakrishna. I ask whosoever comes for Diksha, I ask this fundamental question. That what thinking, deliberation, all rationalization, all ratiocination, everything I have done. Now I am convinced of this idea. I have read Swamiji's complete works. I have read Shastra's Upanishad Gita. Now I understand that statement. I have asked, I have sought the company of the sadhus, etc., etc. Now I understand why Sri Ramakrishna says so, and in what sense Sri Ramakrishna is saying. I understand it. Now he said it is God realization is alone the aim of human life. So for all human life, all right, I am human being. So God realization, whether I consider now this statement as personal, whether do I feel that God realization is also the aim of my life, whether this transition happens, this is the part of the manana. And if it has reached within my heart, so I say Sravana is until here. कान से घुसता है, मुंह से निकलता है, इंफॉर्मेशन है up to your head. अभी इसके बाद when this becomes the manana part comes in, it plays in and it tries to become personal, it reaches your heart. From head it reaches your heart. This information matures, evolves into emotion. अभी ये पर्सनल है. God realization is the aim of human life. God realization is the aim of my life. How do I take it? How much I am involved? What is the skin in the game? कितना पर्सनल है मेरे लिए? How much truly I feel? How much convinced I am of this statement? How truly deeply connected I am to it? So this will be the second part. Now I am thinking, if this is truth, then what is its implication on my life? Suppose I am a student, because I was considering these ideas when I was student. So I am giving this. I had written a long questionnaire to my grandfather. 14 questions I had asked, because he was very well read in religious, spiritual, this one. So he was my only guide at that time. I was in college. I had written him 14 questions about karma, uddesha and many other things, Vedanta, etc. So, and he was so frugal, he replied all 14 questions in one inland letter. In small letters, he replied to me. So this is his understanding. This is what everything is. How does ऐसे हो सकता है? I am thinking in the sense of it, wrestling with that idea, and slowly it refines and gives its essence. कि इसका अर्थ क्या है, इसका तात्पर्य क्या है, कि क्या है ईश्वर दर्शन मनुष्य जीवन का उद्देश्य है. That ideal must be brought down here, where I can take now would be like his constant exercise when digesting every element of this life. इतने सारे मतलब ये है, how do you bring it and make correlation of it? How do one thing relate to each other? How do I narrow it down now? So पहले बहुत कुछ है ना. एक किसी ने बोला तुम्हारा कमरा बहुत गंदा है, इसको put it in order, या फिर ऑफिस में ऐसा ऑर्डर आया. So what do we do? So everything we bring out. जो क्लासिफिकेशन है ऐसा ब्रॉडली क्लासिफिकेशन है, ऐसा क्लासिफिकेशन करते हैं. एवरीथिंग वी टेस्ट, एवरीथिंग वी कैटेगराइज, एवरीथिंग वी लेबल, एवरीथिंग वी प्रोपोर्शनेटली मेक इंफॉर्मेशन कॉपीज कि इसका ये है उसका नंबरिंग है. वी डेवलप अ सिस्टम. सो एनी पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम इन दिस होल ऑफिस एक सिंगल पेपर का मनन पार्ट. सो नाउ व्हेन दिस इज मैच्योर्ड, नाउ ही हैज अंडर, एंड दिस टेक्स अ लॉन्ग टाइम. दिस टेक्स a long time. मैं आज ही किसी व्यक्ति को बोला कि देखो मैं कितने कम उम्र में साधु हुआ, कितना एडवांटेज है मेरे को. मैं बाहर संसार का मैं कोई चिंता नहीं कर रहा हूं। आई हैव नो एस्पिरेशन, नो 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 लगेज ऑफ इट, आई एम प्रोटेक्टेड। कुछ भी दुनिया में कुछ भी हो, है ना, प्याज चाहे 150 रुपए किलो हो, इधर प्याज का भजिया बन ही रहा है मठ में, कोई चिंता नहीं है। सो नॉट इन दैट सेंस, बट what everything haggles to ordinary human being. When you are as a brahmachari living in the mud, how protected you are, you cannot even imagine. Nothing is touching. हमारे यहाँ पे ऐसा बोलते थे हम लोग जब ट्रेनिंग सेंटर में थे वहां पे, तो जो जब सब ब्रह्मचर्य लोग ज्वाइन करते हैं तो एक समय बाद उन लोगों को ये ट्रेनिंग सेंटर रहने जाना पड़ता है। उधर बेलूर मठ में टीसी कहते हैं शॉर्ट में, ट्रेनिंग सेंटर, 2 साल का प्रोग्राम होता है बेलूर मठ में। तो वहां पे कहते थे, और ट्रेनिंग सेंटर के ब्रह्मचारी को तो और भी कुछ नहीं, केवल बेलूर मठ में जाना है। सारा शेड्यूल उनका सुबह मंगल आरती से उठने तक, रात के रीडिंग तक, मंदिर में जाओ, इधर ड्यूटी है, वो साधु सेवा की ड्यूटी है, बगीचा में ड्यूटी है, और बाकी समय मतलब पढ़ाई करो। उसको और भी मतलब जो सेंटर में कोई ब्रह्मचारी लोग वगैरह है, इनसे भी ज्यादा और ही कट ऑफ है सारी दुनिया से। तो हम लोग वहां पे बोलते थे, बोले टीसी और काशी ये दोनों ही जगत के बाहर है, यहां पे जगत नहीं है। टीसी में भी जगत नहीं है और काशी में भी जगत नहीं है। आज हम इतने साल बाद हुए ना, अभी इतने साल हो गए साधु बन के, मैं बाहर खाने से डरता हूं, कहीं नहीं खाना चाहता मैं। हाउ एवर एलोरिंग टेम्पटिंग इट माइट बी, कभी भी शाम को मैं बाहर जाऊं तो मुझे मेरे मन में एक ही रहता है कि चलो खाना नहीं खाना हुआ, फिर भी ऐसा लगता है कि कब आश्रम जाते हैं। मंदिर आना और एक प्रभावशाली उपाय है कि जो व्यक्ति का जीवन गढ़ता है, उसका स्पिरिचुअल ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन लाता है ओवर अ पीरियड ऑफ टाइम, वेरी सबकॉन्शियसली। वेरी इन अनकॉन्स्पिक्यूअस वे। हम रोज मंदिर में जा रहे हैं, मंदिर के पास ही मंदिर को पकड़ के रही है, ठाकुर का प्रसाद खा रहे, यही अच्छी बातों का साधु संगत चल रहा है, आध्यात्मिक जीवन की चर्चा चल रही है, शास्त्रों की चर्चा चल रही है, एवरीथिंग गिवन दैट, पूरा फोकस भी है मेरा। मतलब ईश्वर कृपा से मतलब ऐसा टेम्परामेंट भी हुआ है कि है ना, ऐसे संस्कार की तब मैं साधु बना हूं। इसके बावजूद भी कितने साल लग गए, किसके लिए? केवल समझने के लिए, करने की बात अभी बाकी है। मुझे बताओ, एक संसार में रहने वाले व्यक्ति के लिए, एक साधारण जीवन में जगत में रहने वाले व्यक्ति के लिए कोई प्रॉपर सोच ही नहीं सकते हाउ टू मैच, हाउ टू मैप दिस थिंग्स, हाउ टू कैलकुलेट। इवन ही और शी थिंक्स इट इज इम्पॉसिबल टू अवॉइड द वर्ल्ड। हम इतना सारा कुछ काम कर रहे हैं, कोई फर्क ही नहीं है, हम लोगों को कुछ फर्क नहीं पड़ता, क्योंकि वी नेवर फील लाइक वी आर डूइंग एनीथिंग अपार्ट फ्रॉम आवर साधना। सब समय ठाकुर है। सो अब ये देखो, ये मनन ये हुआ, इतना सब एक इसके लिए इतना सब समय लगा। वो आदमी मतलब ये कितने जन्मों की तपस्या है। एक बार एक स्वामी प्रेमेशानंद जी महाराज थे, उन्होंने कहा ये आत्मा क्या है, आत्मा तत्व अगर कोई इंटेलेक्चुअली भी समझ जाएगा ना, इट इज नो लेस देन मिनी रियलाइजेशन, इट इज अ मिनी रियलाइजेशन। इट डोंट थिंक इट इज अ स्मॉल थिंग। If you understood even intellectually this one, forget about realizing as it is. It is no less than a small realization. It is no small thing. It is no product of intellectual exercise. It does not come like that. कितने जन्मों की तपस्या उस व्यक्ति ने लगाई है, तब कहीं उसको ये उस पायदान पर आया है that it makes sense to him. It makes sense to him. इसके बाद आता है निधिध्यासन, कि दैट पर्सन नाउ दिस information which has matured into an emotion, unless it becomes emotion, it does not have that power to bring any transformation. Only instrument of change is when you are involved. It comes, it means something to you that you can feel weight of it. Emotion कैसा होता है पता है ना? हमार भूख भारी हो जाए, बंगाली में ऐसा बोला, मेरी छाती भारी हो गई है, इतना मतलब किसी चीज का दड़पन वो अनुभव कर रहा है, प्रेम का हो, भय का हो, लोभ का हो, अच्छा बुरा कोई भी इमोशंस कैसा होता है, उसका वेट उसका फील करते हो तुम हार्ट के अंदर। Now this has the power to bring any change. ये इंफॉर्मेशन ईश्वर दर्शन ही मनुष्य जीवन का उद्देश्य है. अभी ये यहां तक आने तक ये इमोशनल एंड एज लॉन्ग एज इट बिकम्स दैट पोटेंट टू ब्रिंग एनी चेंज विद इन मी, ये लॉन्ग जर्नी है. और उसके बाद मुझे देखना, वो देखता है कि कैसे जाना है आगे. अब जब वो देखता है इतना सब क्लियर हो गया, नाउ ही ट्राइज टू लिव इट, प्रैक्टिस इट. सो point is, it is not that Shravana, everything that part happens, everything understand you clearly, then everything manana happens, and then you do nididhyasana. It does not happen like that. You understand little bit, you try to correlate to it little bit, you try to practice little bit. Of course, you are going to fail, so go back to again correcting your, what did you listen? How did you correlate it to it? And now, how did you practice? Improve. Fail, go back. This is how you refine. Your every other failure is better than the previous one. So story of spiritual progress is failure story. It is a story, it is a journey of worse failure to better failures. Swami just put it in different way. He says lower truth to higher truth. So this you practice, and slowly a emotion, a head to heart, and after that then from heart it goes to your guts. Guts पता है किसको बोलते हैं? It's many times it's called as second brain. You know, there is a reason. So neurology explains that. Okay. So in guts means when you say it's my gut feeling, it means it is instinctive. You cannot deliberately explain it, consciously explain it, but you know somehow it is true. Meaning that, what is the meaning of going into guts? That there are something which you have been consciously practiced. Now it has become instinctive. It has become your subconscious nature. It has become the part of your being. So now this is no more knowledge. Now you are assimilated it. It has become your part. It is you. God, my God, and then you are God. These are the three stages. God, information. My God becoming personal. And then you are God. That is the non-dual infinite nature of the ultimate reality. You realize, you become one with it. You have realized it. The realization means making it real. You live in that reality. Now, nididhyasana, this wisdom, vishesha jnana, is the product of this. Now, Bhagavan had tried to explain him what is the difference between these two. What is the meaning of this vishesha jnana? What is this wisdom? How does it is expressed in the terms of life, activity, and everything of this whole creation? And that's why 7th chapter is beautiful to read it again and again. Now, at the end, he brought these concepts and he said in this way. So, basically, this nature of this infinity, very wonderful. If you see, we Hindus, what we call the God, Brahman, this word, there are two words, Atman. Literally, this word in Sanskrit means me. Atman means, does not mean consciousness or this and that. Atman, literally, this Sanskrit word means me. Now, Brahman, this word literally means infinity, or which is the greatest. That is, Brihat, ये word ऐसे हुआ है, इसी root से आए, एक ही root से आए हैं. Which is the greatest? That is Brahman. So greatest, you can say it's infinity. So to that we are calling God. We are not talking in the terms of personals. We are talking in the terms of principles. Now this, and ultimately say that जीव ब्रह्म ना पर, ये आत्मन और ब्रह्मन अलग अलग है ही नहीं, ये दोनों एक ही चीज है. They are one and the same thing. And the nature of this reality, this nature of this infinity, Bhagwan tried to explain as this wisdom. And how it is in terms of this world. That's why he was explaining, I am into this, I am everything this, but do not mistaken, I am into this and this is not into me, etc., etc. He's saying. These words, these verses in the, if you can listen to these previous discourses, they would be on here, our YouTube. Now, in the last class, in the previous classes, then he had used this term that Adhibhutam, Adhidaivam and Adhiyajna. And with he said, if you know this, then at the time of passing away, that you will attend to me, that person will be firmly established in yoga. So naturally Arjuna asked, these terms had been said in this way, they look confusing. And Bhagwan explains him. Now the idea is here. So he uses this term Brahma, Karma and Swabhava. So while explaining Brahma, what is Brahma? So he says that is which is non-decaying, Aksharam. That's why this 8th chapter. Now these chapters, we have to understand one thing. There is a dialogue going on between Arjuna and Krishna. So they are not taking pauses at the end of chapters. This chapter is the imagination or the creation of the Vyasa Rachayita, who is doing that. Arjuna and Krishna, they are not taking breaks at the end of the chapters. Ki yahan pe chapter khatam ho gaya. Krishna is not speaking in the terms of chapters. So that's why this is a continuous dialogue. This nomenclature is Adhyay ka A naam hai. This is for our convenience only. This has to be understood. So it is not like that there is a new chapter starting. It is not like that. It is the same dialogue going on. Started from the sphere of Arjuna. Seas of Arjuna. Seas of his mind. Started from there. This is continuous dialogue. So Vyasmuni, Maharshi Vyas, he gave this chapter name Akshara Brahma Yoga. So the undecaying nature of the infinity, the imperishable nature of the infinity. So because Bhagwan refers to this Brahman in such a way, Aksharam Brahma Paramam. That's why. That is nothing much to be given. Now here the ideas which are going here, which we could not take up, now here ideas, because Arjuna, Krishna also referred that way in the previous chapter, that at the time of passing away, prayana kale picha, then you can know me. So that's why Arjuna also taking up these ideas, that how do people at the time of knowing they can reach you or they can attain. So why this idea of death and remembering God or to get Sadgati, these things are important, I tell you. So we will continue our discussion on this verse in the next class. So just 2-3 minutes are there. So I will take and I will explain why this death is very important in Hinduism. कि मरने के समय भगवान का नाम लो वगैरह वगैरह, ये गंगा जल डालो, ऐसा करो वैसा करो और तुम बाकी की चिंता मत करो वगैरह. दिस सो मेनी आइडियाज कम एंड वी पीपल से दैट अरे सारे जन्म तो किया नहीं, अभी मरने से करने से कैसा होगा, एटसेट्रा. सो बोथ aspects are true and we have to understand. One looks very mysterious. It looks more like a superstition that at the time of death, etc. So that you have lived your life in a wretched way. So here taking the name of God is not going to help. True. Not joke. So Sri Ramakrishna gave one nice example, this story also. He said there was one fellow, one businessman, and all throughout his life, for the sake of money, He cheated and used his cunning and conniving nature in every possible way to squeeze every other penny from his customers, relatives, friends, anyone, and did all sorts of things which can never be termed as holy, religious, pious, or even good natured. From social standards also, something is below the par. Now this fellow, he says, then he realizes that he is about to die now, because it is becoming very uncomfortable. He is about to die. He said, come, quickly take me to the Ganga. So he will dip his foot in the Ganga, and then he will leave it. And while going, so some people, his servants, etc., they are carrying him hurriedly on his cot. And he is saying that I knew, Mother Ganga, you are there, and I have full faith in your ability to wash my sins. That's why in my whole life I never bothered how much my sins are amounting. Sri Ramakrishna put this story in a positive way. He says, if somebody has such faith, then even that is possible. So what is it about death and passing away and remembering God, etc., etc., and what is that? These ideas. Why these ideas come up? Now several verses has been discussed, these ideas here in Bhagavad Gita. The point is that we talk about spiritual life, spiritual transformation, change. But this is what truth is. Truth is, it is very, 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 very difficult to change a person, to bring in some significant change. Whole life you may try. From an animal, you can be a little better animal, that's all. Where we see very sudden changes in the life of the people, it does not happen. We have to understand that these are exceptional cases. This fellow was banking on the wealth, on the capital from his previous lives. Without that, it is not possible. There are stories like that. Why it doesn't happen to me? Even if I try, it doesn't happen to me. This is one part. So that's why. So what happens? So this one fellow, suppose he's trying a lot. So when changes are happening when you get new posting. New posting means new birth. That's how changes happens. So that's why people are so even though he has not buttered the boss all through his service career, when getting new job, new posting, he says, sir, there is no greater person than you. Last time salvage policy. And people at the time have said, you could have. So it is indeed very difficult if this person has not really practiced any throughout his life. It says death is such a unique experience. There are some books written on this topic. These things are called as near-death experiences. They are very unique experience. It is not no ordinary experience. People sometimes experience a tremendous fear, tremendous transformation. It is something different. It is not what we have lived so far. So at that time, remembering God, it is very difficult. So remember, it is not easy to cheat. You must have conviction of that, like that businessman. Must have been absolute conviction all throughout his life, though he might not have ever shown to the world. But it is not easy to cheat. Just at the time of death, I will remember God. It is not so. So that's why we are doing all throughout everything. So get to create this wealth for my new inning. राजा महाराज कहते हैं, स्वामी ब्रह्मानंद जी महाराज कहते हैं कि ये धर्म कर्म जो भी है, एवरीथिंग बिफोर द एज ऑफ 30. इसके पहले है, उसके बाद नहीं. उसके बाद बहुत कम चेंज है। और देखिए 30 में भी उसको, नाउ यू सी हाउ डिफिकल्ट द सिचुएशन इज। दैट पर्सन शुड हैव ऑलरेडी द वेल्थ ऑफ दैट द कैपिटल ऑफ प्रीवियस लाइफ, सच इंक्लिनेशन, देन ओनली ही विल बी ग्रेविटेटेड। और 30 एज होने के पहले उसको तो अकल ही नहीं आती that everything is worthless, I must look in this direction. How will he think in that way? So it is only, that's why, so all our effort are only to get better position in our next inning. It is always so. क्योंकि आज जो है बहुत ज्यादा कुछ नहीं बदलना, यू कैन मेक स्लाइट चेंजेस। यस, योग सूत्र से सो कि आदमी अगर बहुत डेस्परेट है एंड ही डज एक्स्ट्राऑर्डिनरी समथिंग, देन इट इज पॉसिबल। बट एक्स्ट्राऑर्डिनरी करेगा कौन? हाउ आर यू इक्विप्ड विथ? अगेन दैट अंडा मुर्गी सेम साइकिल। हु विल डू दैट एक्स्ट्राऑर्डिनरी? व्हाट विल कॉज दैट? So again same. So that's why this question of this death, that's why it's considered very significant. So always Hindus or their religion, they remind themselves that at the time of death, so there are one sunda very beautiful bhajan is there. Itna to karna Swami jab prana tan se nikle. Probably the Anup Jalot has sung that. This bhajan you can listen. So see the idea how the devotee is preparing for his end. So he is always oriented, he is always aware that this is going, it has its climax. It is going to end at some point of time. And how I will be prepared at that time to pass away. कोई कॉलेज रहता है ना, उसमें बोलते हैं महाराज वो पहले से फर्स्ट सेकंड थर्ड ईयर का कोई मार्क लिस्ट कोई नहीं देखता, फाइनल का ही देखता है। ऐसे इंजीनियरिंग कॉलेज में कॉन्सेप्ट थे कि मतलब टोटल एग्रीगेट नहीं देख रहा है, फाइनल का जीपीए देखता है, बस ऐसा ही है। सो दैट्स व्हाई दिस आइडियाज आर इंपॉर्टेंट। पे अटेंशन, डू नॉट मिस, वेट फॉर द लास्ट मिनट प्रिपरेशन, डिवोट योर टाइम, माइंड, हार्ट एंड प्रेयर्स टू ठाकुर। ओम शांति शांति शांति। हरि ओम तत्सत। श्री रामकृष्णार्पणमस्तु। चलो।